Welcome everybody, fellow resin heads and kit builders, back to the Figure Kit Garage, and welcome to the first video review of 2021. Hope everybody enjoyed their New Year's celebrations and are hopefully getting back to some kind of normal life as much as we possibly can. Before I continue with the review, I want to say a very big thank you to everybody out there that sent me well wishes, prayers, thoughts on Facebook when I made it known that I had contracted COVID-19. Thankfully, the case that I had was incredibly mild. Probably the biggest thing that I had lost was my sense of smell and congested sinuses, which have finally started to clear up, and my sense of smell is coming back. But I want to say thank you to everybody out there in the figure kit community that took the time to wish me well, and it meant a lot. It really, really meant a lot. That's why I love this hobby the way that I do. A lot of great people involved. So let's get down to this review. This review tonight is a kit that comes to me from Quarantine Studios. It is a 1/6 scale, 18-inch tall kit titled Lady Death Seductress. For those of you who don't know who Lady Death is, I'll give you a quick history of the character. Lady Death first appeared in the pages of Evil Ernie #1 back in December of 1991. That's right, Lady Death's first appearance is 30 years old this year. She was a comic character that really broke the mold when it came to female comic book characters because of the way that she was drawn. She didn't look like anything that had ever come before. Wonder Woman didn't look like her, Supergirl didn't look like her, and Batgirl definitely didn't look like her. Her outfit left very little to the imagination, but for all that, she's sexy, she's evil, but the character herself was very well written by Brian Pulido, and even better was the original artwork of one of the first artists of Lady Death, the late Stephen Hughes. She has gone through many incarnations over the years, and her very first solo series, Lady Death The Reckoning, debuted in 1994, and ever since that #1 issue, I have been a devoted follower. From the now defunct Chaos Comics, where she started, through Avatar Press, through Boundless Comics, and now back in the hands of the guy that created her, Brian Pulido, with Coffin Comics to this day. And the first issues were written by Brian Pulido and illustrated by Stephen Hughes. And this kit is the first collaboration between Coffin Comics and Quarantine Studios, and this is the first ever licensed Lady Death model kit to ever be done. There have been numerous pre-painted statues of her sculpted by the talented Claiborne Moore, 3 of which I do have to this day, and this also came in a pre-painted version that was limited to 870 pieces worldwide. Now, you can go on the Quarantine Studios website to see what the pre-paint looks like. I believe both the kit and the pre-paint sold out completely. I cannot be 100% positive, but I do believe Quarantine Studios said that the kit and the pre-paint did sell out all the way around. Initially, back in May, on May 8th of last year, I dropped a $65 deposit, and the balance of $164.85 was paid on January 15th, and I got her yesterday afternoon, January the 22nd. So they got her to me as soon as they got her out of the Port of New York, shipped her UPS, and I could not wait. I've been waiting for this kit for a long time, a lot longer than the nearly 8 months that it took to get this all together. But there's never been a licensed kit of her, or even unlicensed kit that I know of. But this thing was definitely worth the wait. And I'm going to take the camera out of the mount, so I hope you forgive the camera shake. But I'm going to show you the box art that this came in. Really, really beautiful box art from Quarantine Studios, Lady Death Seductress. And she is the first of what they call the Naughty Edition statues. Now, don't let that fool you. As you can see by the image of her at the top of the box, her naughty bits are covered in a way that makes this kit very beautiful, very sexy, but not trashy, which is something that they really intended to do, and they did it very well. This kit is based off the original artwork of Eric Basaldua, and it was rendered digitally by Aaron Beinert, or Beanert. I hope I got that name correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. And the pre-paint was done by William Everhart. And there you can see the Coffin Comics logo. Really, really beautiful. Let's see if I can open this thing up one-handed. And this is 10 pieces plus the base. Beautiful black. So this thing is packaged really, really well. The cutouts in the foam were done just perfectly. And there you can see all the pieces of her. Quarantine Studios is known for doing really, really beautiful packaging on their statues and their kits. And this does not disappoint at all. Safely delivered, no breakage in any way, shape, or form. Now, she is done in cold cast resin, which I know a lot of people out there are not big fans of, especially when it comes to model kits. But this kit, when I first got it and did the inspection on it to make sure there was no breakage, there is zero work for me to do on this kit, period. There are no mold lines to clean up. I do not have to do any drilling in any way, shape, or form. Her left arm is attached by a magnet, as is her head. And she's standing on a very giant skeletal hand coming out of a pool of lava, and you'll kind of see that when I get the base up here on the table. But the fingers in the hand are also magnetized. So that makes breakdown for transport a hell of a lot easier. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this base out first. Like I said, this thing is really well packed. And here we have the base. Turn that light away a little bit so you can see the detail a little bit more. Really, really well sculpted. And the hand is actually sitting like this, so the fingers will stick out back here. And she is pegged in her left and right foot, and she stands very, very well. There are a lot of people that kind of had problems getting her to sit in the base, and I'll show you exactly how that works. But nice lava style base. There you can see the magnets a little bit. She is cast in all white. And her skin tone in the comics is white. She is the queen of all that is dead and dying. So that's set up there, and she's limited to 30 kits worldwide. Now this base, it doesn't feel heavy enough to be cold cast porcelain. This may just be regular resin or cold cast resin, but I have number 9 of 30. So I'm really happy that I jumped on this thing when I did. So thank you to Quarantine Studios and Coffin Comics for making this thing possible. And the first piece I'm going to pull is the main body. Now, though she is naked, her female bits are not rendered on this piece in any way, shape, or form. So if YouTube has a problem with this, well, then I guess I'll hear about it later. So I'm going to readjust the camera to pull back a little bit so you can see her. But this is the figure before the head and body, or head and arm and the cloak. Her skull bracelet, nicely rendered. You can see the little, hopefully, well, it's kind of hard to get that to focus on all white. But there's little skull faces. And there's the pin in her right foot, and then the male plug for her left. And then this square, when I fit her together, you'll see exactly what this is for. She actually has a two-piece cloak that she's actually wearing. And I'm going to fit her in here like so. You just have to kind of rock her back and forth, and she fits in perfectly to that base. Zero seam work to be had anywhere. And I'll kind of come in a little bit closer, get the light out of the way. As you can see, there are no mold lines on her anywhere, period. And that is an absolute first. This thing was cleaned up at the factory, just smooth finish on her all the way around. This is going to be kind of a pain in the butt to do, but I'm going to do my best so you guys can see it. I'm going to pull out the first part of her cloak. And I forgot how heavy cold cast resin can really be. It kind of caught me off guard when I started pulling the pieces out to inspect it. But she does have a good amount of weight to her. And this is the first part of the cloak. This will actually fit, forgive the camera shake. This will actually fit over her. Jeez, I keep bumping the camera. Sorry about that. Good Lord. So fit over her shoulders. And then this piece here will fit into her right hand. I'm going to pull her off to the side and fit that on there, because there's a certain way to get this all to fit evenly. One thing about cold cast resin is you've got to be really careful not to force things, otherwise this stuff will break. The last cold cast kits that I did were of the Randy Bowen Dark Horse Predator and Predator 2. And I nearly had a nervous breakdown trying to drill the holes in those kits to get the arms on there the right way. There we go. As you can see, right hand holds the cloak very nicely. And there's the magnet in her neck. I'll sit her back on the base like so. Gently rock it back and forth. And there we have that. Really nicely done. And once you start putting all these pieces on her, she actually starts to get a heck of a lot heavier. And I'll take I'm using my phone camera, so I'll take the phone out of the mount one more time so you guys can see her up close. And then we have the head and the hair. She's always had a big head of hair all the way throughout her run in the comics, but just really beautifully done. And the concept art by Eric Basaldua, was really beautifully rendered, and the translation from two-dimensional drawing to three-dimensional statue is really well achieved. So my hat's off to the digital sculptors who actually was able to bring this thing to life. I have to be really careful with her hair because it fits a certain way, and I do not want this porcelain to break. Which is going to make painting her a little bit of a headache because it'll rub the paint off a little bit. I apologize for the camera shake, folks. I really, really do. Trying to get this in there is a real headache, but oh. And there's the head and the cloak. It's a really nice fit. There's no seam line work to be done. As you can see, her right breast is covered up by the dangling hair. It's really, really excellently done. And like I said, this is done in a beautiful, sexy, and elegant way without being trashy or over the top. And then I'm going to bring out her left arm, which the casting that they did on this is just incredible. I wonder if I can use a little bit better. It's a lot of glare because it's a solid white kit. A little bit better, but there's zero cleanup on that arm whatsoever. And her left arm snaps in, magnetized, cuts straight across. Sorry, I'm readjusting the camera so I can loosen it a little bit. Like so. Goes straight across her chest. Makes me wish I had a regular HD camera for this one. But coulda, shoulda, woulda. Right, folks? Never lament over something you don't have. And then this is the other part of the cloak that will actually sit over the top of her left arm. The folds in this cloth are just really, really beautifully rendered. Just excellent all the way around. And it will sit just like so, right across her left arm, as you can see. And all the rest of her naughty bits, as it were, are just beautifully covered all the way across the board. Although this is a naughty style statue, it's done really beautifully. So now we're going to get to the final 5 pieces of this kit, which are going to be the fingers. And something I like about the way Quarantine Studios did this is the slots for each finger are numbered, which is going to make it a heck of a lot easier to put these fingers in. These fingers are rendered just really nicely, and this is piece number 3. Nice skeletal bone sculpt. Washes and dry brushing are going to be the order of the day on this, I guarantee you. Let's see if I can find slot number 3. And it'll fit in just like so. And this will be finger number 2. Well, I actually had this in the wrong spot earlier when I test fitted it. Oops. Oh, there we go. And finger number... Shoot, I'm not sure which one this is. Is that this one? Nope. It's got to be one of these two. I believe this might be number 4. Come on. Let me pull these last 2 fingers out. I'll narrow it down. This is number 1. Slides in very nicely. That's the thumb. And this one should be... This is number 4. Snaps in really nicely. Magnets are really, really nice and strong, so there's no seam work whatsoever, which is a good thing. Like I said, it'll make transporting this a lot easier, especially planning on moving within, hopefully by 2022. And then, let me pull that back out. And that's how the fingers will sit. Holding up part of her cloak as it's draped over the fingers. And I'm going to pull the camera out of the mount so we can get a good look at her overall. I'll do a gentle turnaround. Turn the light away from her. There she is. Lady Death Seductress. This kit was definitely worth the wait and well worth the price of admission. My hat's off to everybody at Quarantine Studios and Coffin Comics for making this piece happen. A very big thank you to Brian Pulido and Eric Basaldua and all the folks at Coffin that decided to make this a reality. I've met Brian on several occasions, and he always has big things in store for this character. I've sponsored multiple Kickstarters of this character, and it just keeps getting better and better, and this is no exception. Quarantine Studios, my hat's off to you in a very big way. The level of quality that you guys expect out of these kits is bar none one of the best I have ever seen. Zero seam line work in the casting, strong magnets, beautiful setup, and this thing measures 18 inches overall with a 6.5 inch diameter base. She's not lightweight, to say the least. She's roughly, I'd say about probably a good 6 pounds maybe, but this is an absolutely beautiful piece. So for those who bought the kit version, you're going to love it. I guarantee it. And for those of you who have already gotten the pre-painted versions, I know you're enjoying the hell out of it right now. And you guys definitely deserve it. I wanted the kit form. I'm going to do this my own way. But definitely check it out. They may have some that may be available. You never know. Check with Quarantine Studios online. I'll leave a link to their website. I do not believe Coffin Comics has any available on their website, but I will leave the Coffin Comics website link down below as well. But there we have it. Lady Death Seductress by Quarantine Studios and Coffin Comics. Excellent piece all the way around. I know it's cold cast resin, but as far as I'm concerned, this is a definite 10 out of 10. Just the engineering of it is amazing. The thought process into how this is going to be laid out based on two-dimensional artwork is really, really top-notch. The only other kit that I've ever purchased from Quarantine Studios was the Death Becomes Her, the Bride of Frankenstein, and that kit was incredible, and this is no exception. So definite hats off to Quarantine Studios and Coffin Comics. You guys collaborated really, really well, and it shows. So I can't wait to see what the next collaboration is going to be, because I know there's another one coming, but I don't know what it is. But when they reveal it, I'm sure it's going to be something to see. To put put it mildly, it's probably going to be really incredible. So that's it for this review from the Figure Kit Garage. Hope everybody's out there staying healthy, staying happy, staying safe. Build a kit.